Hello again, good evening to you and welcome to Business. The Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, has described the macroeconomic outlook for the past 3 quarters of the year as reasonably stable. CEO of the association, Seth Chuma Kwabwa, explained this further when he spoke with Joy Business on the implication of this on the business community.
According to the Chief Executive Officer of the Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, Seth Chuma Kwabwa, the macroeconomic fundamentals for the past 3 quarters of the year have been positive. He was confident this trend will continue till the end of the year.
I think for some time now, since last year or the last few quarters, we've had reasonable stability in a lot of the macroeconomic variables. So if you take inflation, for example, inflation has been within a certain reasonable range. Policy rate has consistently fell over the last reviews, about 3-4 reviews. We've had policy rates coming down. Then interest rate, unfortunately, interest rate hasn't followed that much, but at least there has still been some reduction in interest rate compared to the previous times. So when you look at it from that angle, one could say I think there has been reasonable stability. And if you also look at the business barometer report that AGI churns out, where we measure the confidence level of the business community, if you look at the last 2 quarters, in fact, last 3 quarters, you always have it above the baseline. What it means is that generally speaking, confidence level is good.
Meanwhile, Seth Chuma Kwabwa fears this positive trend cannot be sustained if the downward trend of the city is not reversed. According to him, efforts to maintain a stable macroeconomy could derail if the city continues to drop.
I think the recent challenge we've had has to do with the city depreciation, which we have just spoken about, that it is real, it is depreciating.
The central bank has attributed the city's sustained depreciation to some external pressures, ensuring they are working hard to deal with the challenges soon. The city has seen its value go down significantly over the past 3 weeks, reaching around 4.94 cedis on the interbank market.
Meanwhile, CEO of the AGI, Seth Chuma Kwabwa, is calling for an end to speculation, which he says is one of the main reasons for the city's dismal performance in recent times. He stressed that the city's current performance is only temporary and says the recovery can best be achieved if speculations and panic are reduced.
That it is real, it is depreciating, but we don't think that it's going to last, long enough. I'm sure Bank of Ghana would intervene. So we shouldn't speculate yet. We shouldn't give up. I think businesses should be normal, and I think we should be fine with it. So the city is depreciating is of concern to all businesses, and of course, anytime the city depreciates, for us in industry, we even feel it the most because we import your raw materials, and a lot of the raw materials we use for production purposes are imported. So you import it at a certain cost. By the time you finish production, sell your products, gather the money, and you are paying back because of the city depreciation. You have to organize so much city to pay the same amount of dollars. So naturally, when the city depreciates, it affects our operations. And we have also expressed equal concerns about the city depreciation, except that we think that it happens once in a while in a developing country like Ghana. Occasionally, we will experience this instability in the system.
The General Agricultural Workers Union, GAU, has described the move by Turkish agri-equipment manufacturing firm to site its assembling plant in Ghana as a way to reap foreign exchange earnings.
According to the tractor and agricultural machinery manufacturing and assembling company Minos Agri, opening an assembling plant in Ghana to serve the sub-Saharan African market is an age-old initiative supported by the Turkish government to expand its markets in Africa. This was revealed by the International Business Relations Director of Minos Agri, Khan Sen, when the Ghanaian delegation led by the Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, Carlos Ahinkra, paid a working visit to the company. In an interview with Joy Business, General Secretary of the Ghana Agricultural Workers Union, Edward Karawe, said locating an assembling plant in Ghana will afford farmers an opportunity to have access to farm equipment suitable for the environment.
We have to move into using more sophisticated inputs. There have been a situation where government has to import almost all the equipment that we use in agriculture. It is now the time for us to begin producing it here. So if there's any effort or any attempt by private sector or state to establish an assembling plant that will produce some of the equipment, of course, that is a laudable, process.
Headquartered in Izmir, Turkey Minos Agri is one of the biggest agricultural manufacturing firms in the country. Edward Kariwe believes there is the need for a proper assessment of the company before extending any tax incentives.
We need to do our calculations and assessment very well to see whether in this particular area of promoting the assembling of agricultural equipment in Ghana, giving them a tax incentive will inure to our benefit. Whether we may not end up losing so much other than gaining. Again, we may also, because you may do that, give them all the tax incentive, and yet their prices will be so high that even it will be like if they had been imported. But one will also be looking at whether are they going to generate jobs? Are they going to transfer skills?
Government has assured of support for any manufacturing company willing to establish in the country. For Joy Business, Eben Sabotes reports.
The Crops Research Institute of the CSIR is to name a sweet potato species after the late UN Secretary General Kofi Annan. Senior research scientist and potato and taro breeder Dr. Ernest Berfi says it is in recognition of his contribution towards sweet potato production through the funding of the Alliance for Green Revolution for Africa AGRA. The new breed, AGRA SP19 or CRI Kofi Annan, is pending approval by the National Varietal Release Committee of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. Love FM's Kwesi Debra reports.
And we decided to name this in honor and memory of Mr. Annan because Mr. Annan has been a good advocate, a champion, and a supporter of the Institute and the sweet potato fraternity. He has also contributed to making sweet potato have a befitting place in the status of our staple crops. And because of that, this variety was decided to name after him.
The Institute, since 2012, has released 13 high-yielding and early maturing varieties. Despite the strides, the crop has enjoyed low level of utilization because of the sweet taste of the recently introduced orange flesh type, rich in a substance known as beta-carotene, which leads to production of vitamin A. The high water content has also limited their consumption as staple food. Meanwhile, the Institute has released 3 sweet potato varieties in response to the demands. The potatoes approved by the National Varietal Release Committee compose 2 less sweet varieties and 1 less sweet orange flesh sweet potatoes.
So the other 2 varieties are not orange flesh, but they have a color that is similar to the yams or the cassava or whatever we have. They also have higher dry matter. They don't have so much water as they are from there and can be used for other things also. Their yield potential is also high. And then the taste is also not as sweet as we know our traditional sweet potato to be. And so those who have it difficult using sweet potato for dinner or as a main meal can now have alternative sweet potato varieties that have bland taste, and it can go for daily consumption or for main meal.
Dr. Berfi believes the newly released varieties will boost government's agenda such as planting for food and jobs and 1 district, 1 factory.
If these materials are roped in and the government decides to set up a factory at the sweet potato poplar growing areas, then it means that these varieties can boost that policy in that respect. And the employment that could generate from there would give the youth and the vulnerable job security. While the farmers will be producing the raw materials, the industry will be there to pick it. So there will be a ready market for the produce, and the end product that comes out of it are some of the products that we found on the Ghanaian market to see that people are patronizing.
Reporting for Joy News, Kwesi Debra.
And that's all by way of business tonight. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji. We have this more news ahead. Don't go away.